Hello, my friends. Welcome back. My name is Drake, and this is Touching the Edge, and I'm delighted to see you here today. I feel so much better than I did yesterday. I've recovered quite a bit after a brief illness, and we're getting close to the end of our 40-day practice this time. And so I want to talk about something I find interesting, and that is that ancient Chinese curse: "May you live during interesting times." May you live during interesting times, and I think that's interesting. Why would that be a curse? Why would it be a curse to have someone say to you, "May you live during interesting times"? This is certainly an interesting time. Interesting times draw your attention and create opinion. And I don't think that there's ever been a time in the history of the world where opinion has been more powerful than it is right now. The opinions of not just the famous and the great, but also the opinions of people who are just one of many, many myriads of people. A single person's opinion can make all the difference. They can put an opinion online that can spark the downfall of someone famous. So this is an interesting time because it really is creating so much opinion. Our opinions are so powerful that we put our opinion before those that we love. I think it's important to realize it's important to never put a concept ahead of a person. And a concept is an opinion. I also want to take a look at the word interesting itself. Interesting. Of course, if we look at the word interesting, we're looking at the word interest. Interest. What does this word interest mean? I feel like maybe we should take a look at that second part of the word, interest. Est. E-S-T. That EST means it puts a dominance on the phrase. The greatest is the greatest of the great. The fastest is the fastest of the fast. So when you have that EST, that dominates the earlier part of the phrase. Interest, enter. The enter means inner. So it means that the EST means it dominates the inner. So when we have something that's interesting, it's dominating our inner self. And I think it's important that we remember that we have to balance the inner and the outer world. If we are so interested that the outer world is dominating the inner world, we are no longer in charge of ourselves. The ability to control your attention is self-mastery. If you have something interesting, it's like having something glamorous. The word glamorous originally was a spell. So if someone put a glamour on you, that meant that you couldn't take your attention away from that thing. That meant it was interesting. And so these words really give us clues as to what they mean and how we can balance them. So when you find those elements that are so fascinating, and that's another one of those words, if you find those words that are so fascinating, so interesting, make sure that you balance the inner and the outer world. When you find something that's so interesting, do something that draws your attention to the inner world. Something that doesn't seem completely attached to that outer thing. You hear a siren, call someone that needs your attention, that needs support. If you see something that's really disturbing in the news, do some affirmations or some exercise or clean the house. I'm not saying to ignore the interesting thing. Do something that also makes a difference in that world. But first, right away, balance the inner and the outer world. Make the interesting a little less interesting. When you have something so important to you, if you bring it down in importance, you actually increase your ability to respond. So, living in interesting times doesn't have to mean that you're fascinated. It can mean that you are becoming more balanced. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm going to ring the bell. Here we go. If we handle it in the right way, interesting times can lead us to who we were meant to become. I bring my hands in a prayer position and I bow to you. Namaste. Thank you.